We're asked to find the exact reference angle for each given angle, and notice how the angles are given in radians, and we have both positive and negative angles. A reference angle is the acute angle that the terminal side of a given angle in standard position makes with the x-axis. When sketching an angle in standard position, the initial side is always along the positive x-axis. If the angle is positive, the rotation is counterclockwise. If the angle is negative, the rotation is clockwise. Our first angle is theta equals pi over 6 radians, which we can see is equal to 30 degrees, but in this video, we will practice by leaving the angles in radians. So we rotate counterclockwise pi over 6 radians, and therefore this is the angle pi over 6 radians in standard position. The reference angle is the acute angle formed by the terminal side in the x-axis, which is this angle here, which we can see is also pi over 6 or 1/6 pi radians. So the reference angle is 1/6 pi radians or just pi over 6 radians. The next angle is 3/4 pi radians or 3 pi divided by 4 radians. So we rotate counterclockwise 3/4 pi radians. I know the angle is already labeled here, but let's practice counting by 1/4 pi radians until we reach 3/4 pi radians. So rotating counterclockwise, we have 1/4 pi radians, 2/4 pi or pi over 2 radians, and then finally 3/4 pi radians. So this is the terminal side of the angle in standard position, and therefore the reference angle is the acute angle formed by the terminal side, and in this case the negative x-axis, which is this angle here. And notice by counting by 1/4 pi radians, we can see if we rotate another 1/4 pi radians or pi over 4 radians, we are on the negative x-axis, and therefore the reference angle is 1/4 pi radians or pi over 4 radians. Another way to find this reference angle would be to take pi radians, or half a rotation counterclockwise, and then subtract the given angle of 3/4 pi radians. So let's also show that. If we take pi and subtract 3/4 pi, we can rewrite pi or pi over 1 as 4/4 pi minus 3/4 pi, which does give us 1/4 pi or pi over 4 radians. Next we have 4/3 pi radians or 4 pi divided by 3 radians. Let's rotate counterclockwise by 1/3 pi radians. We have 1/3 pi radians, 2/3 pi radians, 3/3 pi radians or pi radians, and then finally 4/3 pi radians. So this is the terminal side of 4/3 pi radians, which is labeled. The reference angle is the acute angle formed by the terminal side and the negative x-axis, which is this angle here. Again, because we counted by 1/3 pi radians, we know we rotated 1/3 pi radians to find this terminal side past the negative x-axis, and therefore the reference angle is 1/3 pi radians or pi over 3 radians. If we did want to calculate this angle, we could take the given angle and subtract pi radians or half a rotation counterclockwise, which would leave us with the reference angle. And let's go ahead and show that. We would have 4/3 pi radians minus pi radians, which is 4/3 pi radians minus 3/3 pi radians, which does give us 1/3 pi radians or pi over 3 radians. And now let's take a look at two negative angles. Here we have theta equals negative 5 pi divided by 3 radians, or negative 5/3 pi radians. Because the angle is negative, we will rotate clockwise. And because the denominator is 3, we will rotate clockwise by 1/3 pi radians until we reach negative 5/3 pi radians. So rotating clockwise by 1/3 pi radians, we have negative 1/3 pi radians, negative 2/3 pi radians, negative 3/3 pi radians, or negative pi radians, negative 4/3 pi radians, and then finally negative 5/3 pi radians terminates here. Again, this is negative 5/3 pi radians. The reference angle is the acute angle formed by the terminal side, and in this case the positive x-axis, this angle here. Again, because we counted by 1/3 pi radians, we can see If we rotate another 1/3 pi radians, we are back to the positive x-axis, and therefore the reference angle is 1/3 pi radians, or pi/3 radians. And our last angle is negative 5 pi divided by 6 radians, or negative 5/6 pi radians. Again, because the angle is negative, we rotate clockwise. So let's rotate clockwise by 1/6 pi radians. We have negative 1/6 pi radians, negative 2/6 pi radians, negative 3/6 pi radians, negative 4/6 pi radians, and then finally negative 5/6 pi radians. So this is the terminal side of negative 5/6 pi radians. The reference angle is the acute angle formed by this terminal side and the negative x-axis, which is this angle here. Again, by counting by 1/6 pi radians, we can see if we rotate another 1/6 pi radians, we are along the negative x-axis, and therefore the reference angle is 1/6 pi radians, which we can also express as pi/6 radians. I hope you found this helpful.